Hi, I'm Stephanie Jaworski of joybaking.com. Today we're going to make homemade ice cream cones, and this is what they look like. What this is really like a sweet crepe batter that then we roll into an ice cream or into a cone shape. I mean, the batter is really easy to make. So what you will need is a large bowl and 2 large eggs, and have your eggs at room temperature. And I'm going to add a half a cup, 100 grams of granulated white sugar. Like I said, most ice cream cones are quite sweet. And so if you prefer yours not as sweet, you could cut back on your sugar here to maybe 1/3 of a cup or 65 grams. And then I'm just going to whisk our egg and our sugar together. You could use a hand mixer, but I'm just using a wire whisk for this. Just until it gets nice and frothy. And then what I'm going to add is 4 tablespoons, that's 55 grams of butter that I melt. You have to melt it and then let it cool to room temperature. And you can use either salted or unsalted butter here, either one, whatever you have in the house. Okay, just whisk that in. And then for flavoring, I'm adding a half a teaspoon of pure vanilla extract. If you prefer, like I find I like an ice cream cone that kind of has a, subtle flavor of vanilla. If you prefer not to have that, just leave it out, or you could add another type of flavoring. And then I'm going to add, you will need somewhere between 3 and 4 tablespoons of milk. And you can use like full fat, reduced fat milk. I'm using like a 2%. Now I'm going to start with 3 tablespoons because you never know how much liquid your flour will absorb, and then we can always add more milk. It's hard to take it away, so just start with 3. And then what we're going to do is add 1/3 of a cup, which is about 40 grams of an all-purpose flour. And then just a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. If you use salted butter, you could probably just leave out that salt. And I'm just going to whisk that, and that is our batter. Like a pancake crepe batter. Now this is kind of the tricky part. And sometimes, what I find is you're almost like your first one that you make, your first crepe, is kind of like a test one. And that way you can see whether your batter, is it too thick, too thin. But this is kind of what you're looking for. At least I'm going to start with this. You can see. And as it sits, it will thicken up a little, but this is what I'm starting with. So now what you want is to have like either an 8 or a 9-inch, somewhere around there. That's 20 to 23 centimeter skillet. I'm actually using a crepe pan. I like the low sides like this because I find it's easy to, swirl your batter. And then what you want to do is heat your pan up medium heat till it gets hot. And then we're going to back that heat off to like a medium-low to cook our crepes. So I'm just going to heat up our pan, and then we can start. Okay, so we're ready to start. My pan's hot. So what I'm going to do is take a heat-proof pastry brush. This is one of those silicone ones. And I'm just going to brush with some flavorless oil. I mean, you could use butter, but I'm just going to use oil and just coat that. And then you will need somewhere between 3 and 4 tablespoons. I mean, it really depends how large you want your ice cream cone. And then I hold it in one hand and pour it and then swirl it around. Try to get it in a circle as best as you can. And a nice thin even layer. And then put it back over the heat. Like I said, medium-low. Now this is the part you kind of got to figure out, you know, the right amount of batter and the right temperature, because what we want to do is cook it just until it starts to, you want it nice and golden brown, because I like them, my ice cream cones nice and crisp. So you can start to see it get golden brown around the edges, and then just check underneath. You'll have a nice, like, kind of like a lace pattern. So a couple minutes. Okay, I think this is almost done. As you can see, it's set on the top, and we're starting to get nice golden brown edges. So I'm just going to take a little peek here. As you can see, that looks pretty good. Just leave it just a sec. I like it quite crisp when it cools down. Nice crisp cone. So then just take a spatula, or you could just use your fingers. Whoop, don't do that. See if I can get that. There we go. And see, you have a nice lace pattern, nice and golden brown. So now just another, maybe a minute on this side. Then you got to, at this point, kind of decide which part of this do you want to have it as the top of your cone. Kind of like, I like the top to have like nice golden brown edges. So I think somewhere in here is where I'm going to have that as the top, and then this as my base. So now I'm just going to take it off. So I want this on the outside, so I'm just going to flip that over onto my counter. And then we got to roll it while it's still hot, not to the point where you burn your hands. And then I like to turn up the bottom because we don't want the ice cream leaking out. And then this hand I'm going to roll in this hand. So just try to do as tight as you can on the bottom, and then your finger at the top just to kind of make it into a cone shape. Takes a little practice, so don't worry if that first one doesn't work. And so, yeah, it looks pretty good. And I like to squeeze the bottom, because we don't, sometimes if you don't squeeze that, the ice cream goes out the bottom, which we don't want. And then you can fix it up. Just go in there and press it, because it's still quite soft. So you can seal it or play with it if you're not quite getting the right cone shape. And that looks pretty good, as you can see. And then if you have one of these little, it's actually an ice cream cone holder. Let's put it in that to cool. If you don't, I mean, kind of like a bit of an extravagance to buy one, but I think it looks so cool. You can just put it on a wire rack to cool. And that is it. I'm just going to take that pan off the heat. And then what you do is just, you know, oil your pan again and just keep doing it, doing it, and doing it. Now, these are best the first day. You know, they'll crisp up nice. But if you can cover them overnight, but what tends to happen is they will like unfold again, get soft and unfold. So what you can do is either put them back and re-crisp them in your pan the next day, or you could put them in a 400-degree Fahrenheit, 200-degree Celsius oven for about 5 to 6 minutes just to get them soft again. And then you can just re-roll them again and let them cool, and they'll crisp up. So have fun with this. I mean, it's really a nice thing for your family. They'll love it. And until next time, I'm Stephanie Jaworski of JoyBaking.com.